Welcome to this digital presentation providing information about the Bruce County Cultural Action Plan.
This video was created to support a virtual open house held in March 2020 and as an introduction to the development of this important planning tool for Bruce County.
My name is Joshua Dent.
And I'm Holly Martel.
And we're with Timmins Martel Heritage Consultants, the team brought on to complete this project. We're supported by a steering committee consisting of representatives from Bruce County Planning and Administration, the Bruce County Public Library, and the Bruce County Museum and Cultural Center.
We want to start by acknowledging that this study is being undertaken within the traditional territory of the Chippewas of Nawash Unceded First Nation and Saugeen First Nation, collectively Saugeen Ojibway Nation, or San. San's traditional territory is bounded on the south by the Maitland River system from Goderich to past Arthur, on the west by the Canada-USA border in the middle of Lake Huron, on the north by a line along the midpoint of the channel between the Saugeen, Bruce Peninsula, and Manitoulin Island, and on the east by a line down the middle of Georgian Bay. The San also asserts Aboriginal title over that portion of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay within their territory. The people of the Chippewas of Nawash and Saugeen First Nations have lived, fished, hunted, and traded throughout these lands for generations, and continue to do so today. They have a deep connection to the lands within their traditional territory. This includes cultural heritage, spiritual and sacred sites, artifacts and archaeological sites, built heritage, and cultural heritage landscapes. It also includes care and protection for the ancestors and their resting places.
The study is also being undertaken within the Historic Saugeen Métis territory. The Historic Saugeen Métis are descended from unions between European traders and First Nations women. The Historic Saugeen Métis hunt, fish, trap, and harvest the lands and waters of the Bruce Peninsula and Lake Huron. Today, they define their territory as covering Grey, Bruce, Huron, the northern part of Lambton, and parts of Wellington, Dufferin, and Waterloo counties. In addition to Indigenous communities, Bruce County is home to various descendant communities who have contributed to the artistic, cultural, and heritage fabric of Bruce County.
Bruce County is currently undertaking a comprehensive review of its official plan. The official plan guides the planning decisions made by Bruce County Council and administration.
Alongside this review, the county has undertaken 2 additional planning exercises, an archaeological management plan and a cultural action plan. This presentation introduces the Cultural Action Plan, or CAP.
TMHC has been contracted to complete these plans, but we can't do it alone. We are relying on consultation with Indigenous communities, community stakeholders, our steering and advisory committees, and on interested individuals like you. Bruce County has rich and diverse arts, culture, and heritage environments consisting of places, institutions, programs, and events.
Recognizing this diversity, Bruce County wants to develop a county-wide cultural action plan to consider objectives for these sectors, such as 1. To inventory and map cultural resources in the county. 2.
This could include documenting both tangible and intangible cultural assets, identifying strengths and opportunities for growth, and facilitating decision-making processes, making sure that culture is taken into account in every part of the planning process.
2. Integrate existing resources and enhance communication between the various actors.
This objective considers nurturing mutually enforcing relationships within cultural networks, making the most of available resources by simplifying certain workflow, and better connecting residents and visitors to available cultural resources.
3. Design a unified vision of cultural action in the county that reflects what its residents value and protect what makes Bruce County unique.
This is about generating a fundamental understanding or guiding principle for Bruce County, and then applying that understanding to other planning decisions. In other words, understanding and elaborating on Bruce County's cultural lens.
And finally, 4. Facilitate a process of collaboration and understanding with Indigenous peoples in the county.
This comes down to listening to whether or not and in what capacity Indigenous arts, culture, and heritage sectors wish to interface with county-wide networks.
So what do we mean when we say culture? Culture comes from human encounters with peoples, landscapes, and histories that connect them to a place. These encounters shape the cultural character of a community, as so the experiences they nurture and the memories they create.
As such, glimpses of culture might be found in traditions, artistic skills, monuments, celebrations, or ways of living and moving about the land and water. All of these are assets that offer a common ground to the community, while pointing to opportunities to grow and develop its economic activity, quality of life, and sense of shared objectives. When we talk about culture in Bruce County, we talk about the things that make it a good, special, and unique place to live, and the collective experiences that shape Bruce County's perspective on the world. This is what we mean by Bruce County's cultural lens. It includes tangible, concrete things like buildings, libraries, museums, and historical markers, but also intangible things like knowledge and skills, stories, and performance arts that are difficult to place on a map but are nevertheless part of what grounds people to the land in Bruce County. Culture is a bit like the path that shows you how you got to where you are now and where you might choose to go in the future.
Cultural planning helps identify these tangible and intangible cultural resources, chart how to make the most of existing cultural assets, and decide in which direction to develop them in the future, in consultation with people at all levels of the decision-making process. Applying the Bruce County cultural lens means these planning decisions are grounded in the culture of Bruce County.
Given all of that, what is a cultural action plan?
Part strategic planning tool, part aspirational document, a CAP brings together otherwise distinct cultural institutions, stakeholders, and government partners to outline common objectives relating to arts, culture, and heritage, and establishes a path to help achieve these objectives. A CAP includes both a broad vision of why culture matters and what is the most important to the arts, heritage, and culture of a place, while also identifying specific and concrete ways to preserve and nurture this unique resource.
Arts, culture, and heritage are pretty broad topics, and the subject matter that a CAP can approach is just as broad. There is no one right way to design a CAP. It reflects the values, goals, and aspirations of a community at a specific time. Bruce County's objectives in generating a CAP that we discussed at the beginning of the presentation help to narrow that scope to something more manageable.
In plain language, these objectives consider how Bruce County makes decisions affecting arts, culture, and heritage sectors, integrates existing resources and programs, and applies a cultural lens in other areas.
These other areas can include economic development, land use planning, urban design, downtown regeneration, neighborhood renewal, growth plans, and more.
This is not an exercise Bruce County undertakes alone. It involves significant engagement from the community to not only help define how the Bruce County cultural lens shapes decision-making, but in formulating the key components of a cultural action plan. Conventionally, these are referred to as guiding principles, strategic directions, and recommended actions.
Guiding principles highlight why the CAP is being developed. They frame the vision for the CAP by identifying key values, and they establish high-level criteria for deciding which strategic directions to pursue.
Strategic directions identify what the CAP hopes to achieve by establishing priorities and outcomes. Strategic directions might focus on areas to develop, improve, or maintain to best reflect the CAP's established guiding principles.
Recommended actions tell us how the strategic directions are put into practice in accordance with the guiding principles. Recommended actions are concrete, specific, and time-bound. They might include activities and projects with a specific beginning and end, directed at a specific audience.
A big initial part of a CAP is getting a comprehensive inventory of all those significant institutions, places, and events that shape Bruce County culture. For tangible resources, the format this inventory typically takes is cultural asset mapping. Indigenous communities have long recognized the relationship between place and culture, so the thinking behind this approach isn't necessarily very new.
So how can you help? First, share what you see are the successes of and challenges to arts, culture, and heritage sectors in Bruce County. Second, share ideas about how you think these sectors can be improved. Third, share thoughts about how Bruce County can support and encourage arts, culture, and heritage.
Use the tools on planthebruce.ca to share your knowledge, ideas, and experiences. We'll be consulting with residents and stakeholders in Bruce County throughout the design process, which is scheduled to end in June 2020. You can keep up to date by registering and subscribing to Bruce County's engagement website at www.planthebruce.ca/heritage.
Thank you for your time and your attention. We look forward to presenting the results of these projects later this year.